If you want athletes to be faster, more powerful, and more injury resistant, then you need to understand plyometric training. I'm sure we've all utilised plyometric exercises at some point, but do we really understand what they are and how to implement them? By the end of this video, you will. Plyometric training. What is it? Why does it matter? And how do we actually program it properly? Plyometrics are basically the body acting like a spring. We stretch the muscle quickly, then snap it back into an explosive action. If you think about jumping, hopping, bounding, or even throwing a medicine ball, that is all plyometrics in action. Plyometrics use the Stretch-Shortening Cycle, or SSC for short. This is where the muscle rapidly stretches and then immediately shortens to produce explosive force. Imagine compressing a spring. The energy is stored and then rapidly released. Think of exercises such as jump squats, hops or bounds, clapping push-ups, medicine ball chest passes. So why should we incorporate plyometric training in our sessions and our programming? Well, there are three main benefits to plyometric training. Firstly, they improve the rate of force development. Right? This helps athletes produce force faster. Secondly, they can improve someone's overall athletic performance through improved sprinting, jumping, and change of direction. Finally, they can even help reduce injury through better landing mechanics and better neuromuscular control. This is why plyometrics should form a key part of any athlete's programming. So what is actually happening in the muscle when we train plyometrics? Well, all plyometric movements follow three phases. First of all, there's the eccentric phase or the loading phase. This is where the muscle lengthens and absorbs force. For example, bending your knees on landing. Secondly, there's an amortisation phase or the rebound phase. This is a tiny transition between landing and takeoff. The shorter this is, the more powerful we can make the action. Finally, there's the concentric phase or the unloading phase. This is your explosive jump, push, or throw. Think about a counter movement jump versus a seated jump. A counter movement jump uses the stretch-shortening cycle. A quick dip, rebound, and then explode. A seated jump removes that fast stretch, so you don't jump as high because you lose that ability to utilise the elastic energy stored in the muscle. Now, where most people stumble when it comes to plyometric training is the implementation and the programming. In order to implement plyometric training safely and effectively, we have to go through three different stages. Step one is that we need to ensure that the athlete has mastered landing mechanics. Exercises such as snap downs, drop landings, stick landings, lateral step-off landings, they all teach athletes to absorb force safely. This is where every athlete should start, particularly younger athletes as well who are still developing strength. Step two is to develop propulsive force. These are things like counter movement jumps, squat jumps, lateral line hops, bounds, broad jumps, medicine ball throws. The focus has to be on controlled takeoff and landing at this stage also. Finally, once we have ticked all the boxes in step one and step two, we can add a rebound and we can add intensity to the training. Exercise selection at this point might include things like pogos, continuous jumps, tuck jumps, depth jumps, rebounding broad jumps, and other bounding patterns. We need to increase intensity gradually. How do we increase intensity? Well, we need to consider things such as number of ground contacts, fall distance, the load distribution, whether it's single or double leg, frequency of training, and many other factors in order to program these exercises safely and effectively. So if you want to learn more about implementing plyometrics safely and effectively, then make sure you hit subscribe, because I'll soon be dropping a practical video with beginner through to advanced exercises, full session ideas, and programming considerations. So your key takeaways from this video should be that plyometrics develop explosive power utilising the stretch-shortening cycle of the muscles. They improve performance and reduce injury. When programming, always start with safe landings first, then build propulsive force, and finally add in reactive and high intensity movements.